Hi guys, welcome back to AMMA SAT. So guys, actually you have access to the iPad app. Then you click it. You can download it for your iPad or even can run the app on your MacBook. So you can also have the web app, which is actually what we have been using recording the tutorial. All right, so let's just get to the drill and then get to the next episode. We're going to talk about tables and statistics. Let's click in and then you're going to get to your practice page. I have moved the chapters of the textbook over here, just in case that you want to go to the textbook really fast. All right, so since we're going to focus on understanding the mean, the median, the mode, and the range. So we're going to click chapter. We're going to click this chapter, which is a little covered by my camera frame. So we just click it, and then it's going to lead us to that chapter. Let's just hop through these words and get right to the definition of what mean is. So the mean of a group of number or a sequence of number is the sum of all the values divided by the number of the values. What does that mean? For example, if you have a group of numbers like 5, 3, 4, 7, 2, right? And then the sum of the value is pretty simple. Just add these numbers up and then you get the sum, right? How many numbers you have in this group? Just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers, right? So just divide the sum by 5. You get the mean. Pretty straightforward, right? So let's take a look at the median. So the median is the middle value of a group of number if you have sorted it out from the smallest to the greatest. And then sometimes you don't have the middle number because you have an even number of numbers in the group, right? So then you have to use the average of the two middle values to represent the median. All right, so let's just use an example to show that. If you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So you have to sort them out from the smallest to the biggest or from the biggest to the smallest. It doesn't really matter which order it is. So the median for this number is the middle number over here. Let me get another color. So let's just get this one here. 3 is in the middle, right? So when you have an odd number of numbers over here, the middle number exists. But when you have an even number of numbers, then you don't have the middle number. Then you have to find the average value of the two middle numbers over here. For example, if you have another 6 over here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you have 3 and 4 to be at the middle, right? So you have to find the average of 3 and 4. So 3 plus 4 divided by 2, you get a 3.5. So that's the median value of this group of number. And then the mode of the number is most frequently occurring value, all right? For example, you have a group like 3, 5, 6, 5, 7, 8, 5. Then the most frequently occurring number is 5. That's the mode. All right, and then the last concept, range. Then range means the maximum number subtracted by the minimum. Let's just take this example again. So the maximum number here is 8, and the smallest number, the minimum, is 3. And the range is going to be 5, right? So that's the range. All right, so let's take a look at this paragraph over here. The key insight, that's like what the SAT likes to test you a lot. The outliers affect the mean far more than the median. What is an outlier? An outlier is a number that stays away from the group for the longest distance, right? In this case, you have 40, 45, 50, 55, and 500. That's way away from these smaller numbers. So this is the outlier. And this outlier is going to affect the mean value of this group of number much stronger than the median number. And then the mean is 138, right? But the median is only 50, which means the median and the mean can be quite different. Depends on what kind of group of numbers you have. So the next concept is standard deviation, measure how spread out data is. You will never calculate it on SAT. You just need to understand the concept. So they're not going to ask you to calculate what the standard deviation is, but they're going to test how well do you understand it. For example, you have a data set 49, 50, 51 has a very small standard deviation because three of the numbers stay very close to the median number, right? The value are very close together. And the data set 10, 50, 90 has a much larger standard deviation. A data set of all identical values have a standard deviation of 0. For example, you have 1, 1, 1, then its standard deviation is 0. That means they are not scattered at all. Let's just go back to the test over here. When looking at this problem, the mean of 5 numbers is 12. If 4 of the numbers are 10, 15, 8, and 14, what is the 5th number? So let's get the draft paper and pull it over to the left side. We know the 4 numbers of the 5, right? So we have 10, 15, 8, and 14. And just assume the 5th number is x. So remember the definition of mean. It's the sum of the numbers divided by the number of the numbers, right? So we're going to add these numbers up and then divide the sum by 5 because we have 5 numbers in this group. And the value of this whole expression is going to be 12. And then just solve this equation and find out how much x is. So x is going to be, let's just time 5 on the left side and time 5 on the right side. It's going to be 60. And then we're going to minus this whole number on the left side and minus the whole number on the right side. So it's going to be minus 10, minus 15, minus 8, minus 14, right? So that's just common sense. And then if you do the calculation, you might find out that's it's going to be 13. Let's just check if the value is really 13. 13, and then show the answer. Get it correct. So if this still confuses you a little bit, just click Ask Emma to explain as usual. All right, ask her, and then she's going to explain things to you. Great. So let's see if we can get to another problem which tests us on median rather than the mean. We have an even number of numbers over here. Remember, when you have an even number of numbers in the group, you have to use the average of the middle 2 numbers to get the median, right? So the middle 2 is 8 and 12. Then 8 plus 12 is 20. 20 divided by 2 is going to be 10. So the answer is 10. All right, so if you're really familiar with the concept of median, mean, then you can pretty much solve such kind of problems within 5 seconds. All right, let's check the answer. B is correct. And then still, you can ask Emma to explain, as always, right? About mean, about median, about mode, about range. Yeah, she's just popping up all of these explanations over here. Yes, guys, I think that's all for today. I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Bye.